Hello Star Wars fans, and welcome to episode 103 of Journey into Legends. Today we will be reading The Approaching Storm by Alan Dean Foster. The Approaching Storm was released in 2002, and it takes place immediately before the events of Attack of the Clones, and it's based on a mission to the planet Ancion mentioned by Mace Windu in the film. I'm not really sure what to expect from this book. I've heard mostly negative things, but I'm still going to go into it with an open mind. So without further ado, let's read and review. One thing I wasn't expecting was for the plot of this book to be so intertwined with the growing Separatist movement going into Attack of the Clones. I was expecting a mission more disconnected from the film, but I was pleasantly surprised to see Ancion as such a decisive planet in the growing Secessionist movement. Overall, although I appreciated the political backdrop of the book, it was definitely the least interesting part of the novel simply because of how underdeveloped it was. I just couldn't really care less when reading any of the chapters about Shu Mai, or the Ancion Council, or frankly any chapters without the Jedi. It served as a decent enough basis for the book's plot, but left a lot to be desired. Definitely the best part of this novel was everything involving our main Jedi characters, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Luminara Unduli, and Barriss Offee. After arriving on Ancion, their main mission is to visit the native Alwari tribes and convince them to form an agreement with the city dwellers to avoid the planet seceding. Overall, this was a pretty slow-moving plotline, as it mainly just consisted of the Jedi riding on the backs of their steeds across plains for pretty much the whole book. But honestly, I kind of enjoyed these chapters. Firstly, we had some decently fun characters that joined the Jedi on their journey, starting with Kiokta and Bulgan, two tribeless Alwari who worked for Soerg the Hutt and actually kidnapped Barriss early on in the novel. But there was a really poignant scene of Barriss using her skills as a Jedi healer to basically cure their mental illnesses. Now, I do have mixed feelings on this scene, as it almost feels like Alan Dean Foster is saying that these mental illnesses are something to be cured or ashamed of, but other than that, in the context of the story itself, it was actually a really heartfelt scene and definitely endeared me to these characters, as well as Barriss. There was also a small Gwurin named Tukwai who joined the Jedi, and I also enjoyed his character as well. Now, as for the plot, like I said, it was very slow and mostly uneventful, but honestly, I kind of enjoyed that. Maybe it's just because I usually read pretty late at night, but I found this book and this plotline pretty relaxing because of that. Also, there were a few sequences that I really enjoyed. Firstly, when visiting one tribe, the Jedi had to basically perform for the Alwari, and so Barriss did some cool lightsaber tricks, Luminara did some cool Force stuff with sand, Obi-Wan told them a story, and Anakin even sung for the natives, so I really enjoyed that scene. There was also a sequence where Luminara had to basically navigate this herd of sheep looking for a specific one. I just found these scenes pretty unique, and it was a pretty fun way to make a relatively low-stakes novel a little more memorable. So overall, I was pretty pleasantly surprised with this novel. Now, it wasn't the greatest thing I've ever read. I wouldn't even go as far to call it good, but it was decent. And given what I've heard about the book going into it, it was a lot better than I expected. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for my next video where I'll be reading a pair of one-shot comics about Jango Fett and Zam Wesell. See ya.